Welcome to a new deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that's, well, it's everywhere, isn't it? This explosive era of tech innovation, especially artificial intelligence, and all this happening against a backdrop of, pretty significant economic uncertainty and global shifts.
Indeed. We've got a really fascinating stack of sources here, stuff from recent tech summits, market analyses. Our goal, really, is to pull out the key nuggets, connect some dots, maybe across fields that don't always seem related, and just try to understand what this new era means for all of us. We'll touch on, the billions pouring into AI, the dance between the tech giants and the startups, and how this stuff is actually playing out day to day. Search, geopolitics, you name it.
Okay, sounds great. Let's unpack this and try to figure out what's really driving this incredible pace of change. So maybe the place to start is, well, it's the money, isn't it? That the sheer scale of investment in AI is just staggering. We're talking massive, massive capital, like Google alone planning $75 billion in CapEx in 2025. $75 billion. And that's not just for one thing, it's powering everything, right? Search, YouTube, cloud, Android, Waymo.
Exactly. And the quote that stands out is that they see the opportunity ahead as bigger than the opportunity we had in the past. That tells you something about how central they view AI.
Yeah, it's really compelling how this investment signals.
Well, it's a fundamental shift. AI is being called the single most important technology force of our time. And that's not just, marketing speak. The rate of change, the pace, it's faster than anything we've ever seen. It's changing how business actually gets done.
But, okay, this speed, this expansion, it must bring challenges too, especially thinking about content.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge one. The web, YouTube included, is just getting, overrun with AI-generated content is the phrase used.
Yeah.
And while, there are amazing creative possibilities, it also kicks off this cat and mouse game. Platforms trying to deal with a flood of low-quality stuff.
Right, so Google is using its own AI, like Gemini, to try and fight back, to improve recommendations and find the better content.
Exactly. Trying to surface higher quality material. But it raises this bigger question, doesn't it? How does AI fundamentally change how we even find information? We're seeing it play out in search right now. You've got Google with its AI overviews. The idea there is to give answers, but also showcase links, drive traffic, high-quality traffic. They hope to a more diverse set of websites, people clicking through, spending more time.
Okay, but I read some publishers aren't exactly thrilled calling it tragic because they feel like they can't opt out without getting booted from the index.
That's the tension. Precisely. They feel caught. It potentially changes the whole economic model for them. Less direct traffic, maybe less ad revenue if Google's AI is the first stop.
So while Google's trying to integrate AI into the existing model, you've got others like Perplexity just starting fresh.
Totally different approach. They're pitching search as an answering machine. It's about conversations, trusted sources. Their model has become a sort of blueprint for every other chatbot out there.
And their focus is accuracy, right?
Accuracy first. It's less about a list of links, more about trying to give you the answer, which again raises questions about information control.
So does all this just mean the big guys get bigger? AI seems to need huge resources, GPUs, data centers.
Well, that's the current reality, yeah. It definitely favors the giants and the well-funded startups right now. But there's also this confidence, in the sources we looked at, that new dominant companies will emerge, companies we don't even know the names of yet.
Like Google itself back in the day. Didn't exist right after the internet started.
Exactly, that analogy. This AI era, because it's moving so fast, could absolutely birth new leaders who figure out how to leverage this stuff in completely new ways. And if we zoom out a bit, AI isn't just about screens and search bars, is it? It's changing how we interact with, everything.
Like the browser itself, you mentioned Perplexity.
Yeah, they have this vision of the browser becoming a cognitive operating system, like a proactive AI assistant that lives together with you, moving beyond just giving answers, toward actually taking actions for you, making the whole internet experience smoother, more intuitive.
And then there's the whole wearable AI thing, an assistant that hears and sees what you do.
A super intelligent assistant using sensors on a device, that feels like a real paradigm shift, away from the phone being the center of everything. The goal isn't really the hardware itself, it's the experience of connecting with each other more naturally with the AI handling the background stuff.
Okay, so software wearables, but also physical stuff like actual robots, humanoid ones.
Yes. This is where it gets really sci-fi, but it's happening. Agility Robotics Digit. It's been working in commercial settings for over a year.
Seriously? For a year? What
Yeah.
made that possible now?
It's this convergence, really.
Sure.
Better batteries, like 10 minutes charge for 100 minutes of work.
Wow.
Then AI, obviously, teach you skills way faster and cheaper,
Right.
and just better motors, making them more capable.
On the design,
Yeah.
it's human-centric because
Yeah.
our world is built for us.
Exactly. Warehouses, factories, they have narrow aisles, shelves at human height. So a humanoid form is actually the right device for environments like this. It's about teaching them skills, not just rigid programming, so they can adapt like a person would.
That's fascinating. But it's not just the futuristic stuff, right? You mentioned even unsexy industries are getting disrupted.
Absolutely. Wire harnesses, for instance.
Wire harnesses,
Yeah.
the bundles of wires in, everything.
Yeah, rockets, cars, coffee makers, you name it. And apparently, the way they're made hasn't really changed much since the Cold War. It's still very manual, like arts and crafts.
That's kind of crazy.
Right. So companies like Center Systems are building tools to automate the design, cutting it down from months to minutes, and then streamline the actual manufacturing.
And they started in an apartment.
Yeah, which just shows how inefficient the old way was. Huge potential for disruption there.
So the question is, can this scale? You said the supply chain is dwindling, lots of small shops struggling.
800 plus mom and pop shops, finding it hard to keep up. So capital markets are getting excited about new players who can iterate faster, build better harnesses, cheaper, because they realize these things are fundamental. You need reliable modern components to make the really cutting-edge stuff, like from companies like Anduril, actually work well in the long run.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. All this tech, especially AI, it inevitably connects to the bigger global picture, doesn't it? National security, geopolitics.
Absolutely. It's central to it. There's definitely a tech arms race dynamic,
Yeah.
particularly between the U.S. and China. Competition over AI, quantum advanced manufacturing. It's intense, and policy plays a very, very important role here.
How so?
Everything from drone regulations to approving new nuclear power plants, these decisions shape whether the U.S. stays ahead.
And there was that wake-up call you mentioned earlier with China's deep sea AI.
Right. It showed that just trying to block exports, the old control regimes, it was not enough to slow China's progress significantly. So the strategy has to be broader now. It needs to be both a promote and protect strategy. Meaning invest heavily in R&D at home, cut down regulatory hurdles that slow things down, but also really push for adoption. Get this tech used across government, the military industry. Promote and protect.
And we see this tech playing out in real time in conflicts, right? Assessing damage, gathering intelligence.
Definitely. Like after strikes on Iranian facilities, you need intelligence officers doing geospatial analysis using human intelligence.
Yeah.
But what's also fascinating now is the role of open source intelligence. OSINT.
Commercial satellites.
Exactly. These constellations are doing phenomenal work, mapping activities. It supplements the government's own, exquisite assets. And putting those two together, the classified stuff and the open source stuff, gives great insight. It's changing intelligence gathering.
But, okay, if it came down to a major conflict, say with China, how ready is the U.S. industrial base? I read concerns about running out of weapons.
That's a serious concern, yeah. The worry is the U.S. would run out of precision weaponry very quickly. The capability needs to scale up very quickly.
But it's not like building cars, is it? Today's F-35 cannot be made in a Ford factory.
That quote sums it up perfectly. These systems are incredibly complex. Massively scaling production isn't simple, so the assessment is the industrial base has thickened, but not enough.
And part of the problem is companies don't want to invest huge amounts without guaranteed orders from the government. This chicken-egg situation.
Precisely. Defense firms are wary of making huge capital investments without that clear demand signal, those long-term contracts. It makes ramping up difficult. Though there is new energy coming into defense tech now. More VCs, even big tech companies like Meta and Google exploring military applications.
Driven by
A mix, probably. A mission mindset, certainly. Doing it for profit, but also for purpose, given the global situation.
Okay, let's pivot again, back to more. Everyday impacts. Mobility. How's AI changing how we get around?
Big changes there, too. Tesla finally rolling out its long-promised driverless taxi service in Austin.
Right, following Waymo, which is already pretty established, isn't it?
Very established. Over 20 months of commercial service. Something like 27% market share in San Francisco, now ahead of Lyft. And Waymo is expanding fast to other cities.
That must put pressure on cities themselves, no, to adapt.
Extreme pressure is the phrase used. Cities need to catch up, build out their digital infrastructure to talk to these cars.
Talk to them. How?
Sharing data, basically. Parking rules, Road closures, hazards, there's this open standard, the Mobility Data Specification, or MDS, to help with that. Some big operators were resistant at first, apparently, didn't want to share data. But cities mostly won that fight, mandating MDS, because it lets the city manage things better, and honestly, it helps the companies operate more efficiently too, giving them the info they need.
Makes sense. Okay, last big intersection, AI and money.
Yeah, this is really interesting. There's recent U.S. legislation, the Genius Act, providing clarity around digital dollars on public internet rails.
Stablecoins, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Defining payment stablecoins, setting up consumer protections. It's a signal that these are seen as part of the future financial stack.
And the link to AI.
The core idea is that machine intelligence needs machine money.
Okay.
Think about it. If AI agents are managing things for us, making payments, moving assets around, they need a form of money that's native to the internet, right? Sending dollars should be very, very inexpensive and nearly instant, like sending data.
So stablecoins become the money for these AI native money flows.
That's the vision. These AI agents would interact via APIs, not clicking buttons on a website like we do.
Which raises questions about identity, security.
Huge questions. How do you map those AI identities back to regulated financial institutions? That's a whole new challenge for regulators and tech builders.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. From these massive AI investments and the content chaos.
Through to search changing, humanoid robots becoming real, old industries getting shaken up.
The tech arms race, defense readiness, autonomous cars, and even the future of money itself.
It's clear the pace of change is just, well, unprecedented. And what really hits home is how interconnected our lives are becoming with these AI systems. We're not just using tech, we're kind of living on the internet in a new way, where AI is constantly learning, helping, maybe even making decisions for us.
Yeah, often without us even noticing.
Right. It's not some distant future. It's happening right now.
So maybe the final thought for you, listening, as we wrap up this deep dive, what new questions pop into your head? Questions about, say, privacy or control, or what work even looks like when you imagine AI agents handling our money, or assisting us through wearables, or shaping geopolitics.
It's a world unfolding super fast.
Definitely. And the conversations we need to have about it, well, they're really only just beginning.